So God put this tree in the middle of the garden and said, don't eat from it, to protect them. Okay. So now we come to the fall of man. And it starts in Genesis 3, chapter 1. I'm going to read through it and then we'll go over it, okay? Now the serpent was more subtle and crafty than any living creature of the field which the Lord God had made. I want you to know something about the serpent. He was crafty. He can't create. He can make something from something else. So he can take something you like or want or need, and he can try and make it and rearrange it to give you something else. But he can't create for you. He's just crafty. He can take a piece of truth and twist it around to try and get you what he wants to. We'll look at that in a minute. And Satan said to the woman, can it really be that God has said, you shall not eat from every tree of the garden? Okay, he's just asking you, hey, I'm just asking you a simple question. How can it be? And there was a slight twist in that, wasn't there? He said, you can't eat from any trees in the garden. Where are you supposed to eat? Now what he did was he just threw this into a deprivation place, didn't he?
Yeah.
You can't eat from anything? You're not supposed to eat from those trees? Now Eve, by the way, was alone. First big clue. She was alone. She wasn't walking and talking with God and Adam. She was alone standing there. Not a good place to be ever is alone. And when she was alone and she heard this deprivation from Satan, this place you can't eat from anything, she argued back with him. She said, and the woman said to the serpent, we may eat from the fruit of the trees of the garden, except the fruit for the tree which is in the middle of the garden. She was speaking the truth.
Yeah.
God has said, here's where she messed up. You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. You can't even touch the thing.
Wow.
Did God say that? No. He said you can't eat it. So she went further than what God had said.
Wow.
You can't even touch it. See? So she had bit into that place of deprivation.
I don't get it.
What do you not get?
Why is that messed up that she said you can't touch it? Because God never said that.
Because God never said that.
But how does that fall into the place of deprivation?
Because what Satan had given her was a place. You can't eat from anything. You can't eat from any tree. And what does that do to us? If I said, no, quit. Your dad says you can't do anything with your life? Did your dad say that? No. My dad said I can't, be a bartender. Okay? But he didn't say I couldn't do anything. But it puts me on the defensive. It makes me step back and go, wait. And so when I step back,
it creates a desire to rebel by over-restricting.
it creates a desire to rebel by over-restricting. And so it creates a place where no is for punishment, not about protecting me. In fact, God is so restrictive, He won't even let me touch it. Well, what if you fall into it accidentally? You're gone.
Yeah.
What if you look at it? No, now I won't even look at it. God says don't even look at it. See, that's not what God says. Okay, so when we assign God a punitive, restrictive place, it puts us in a place of deprivation. That makes sense?
And a lot of times, like, the Lord can say wait, or the Lord can say there's a delay. But He hasn't said no.
Right.
But if we're on the deprivation side, we're going to say, He's not going to let me have it. I want it now. No, it's true.
It's very true.
Yeah, I want it now because we're one of those people that we want everything fast, right? But the Lord is doing something bigger than us when He tells us to wait or if there's a delay, because He's doing something in us before it manifests, because he is in the protection side of us and not on the other side of us.
Right.
So he's protecting us until we're ready to go in what he's called, but he never says no. He says a lot of times wait or there's a delay.
Yeah.
Or better. You're asking for something and he wants better for you. And see, but it's all about attitude. Remember, it's about the thought in our head.
Yeah.
It's about, God is being so restrictive, I can't even touch it.
Yeah.
Okay? God's being, that's just like too much. Okay? So listen to what Satan does with that.
Can I add something?
Uh-huh.
So it's like, the way I'm processing it, it's like, I know that Satan's really tricky and really deceptive, that's his job. So he plants a thought. And if we accept that thought, then our own mind can take that thought to that other place.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yes.
that's just the way we are.
Yes.
We go to the worst scenario sometimes. Does that make
Yes.
sense?
And that's why you have to cast your thoughts and imaginations to
That's-
the hell when they're
yeah.
not godly.
Yes.
Every time.
Yeah, vain
Every single
imaginations is the verse, casting down vain imaginations, because our mind, it goes in circles. It's gonna be trying to tell you all kinds of stuff that ain't right.
Yes.
So when we recognize it, we say, hey, that thought's not from God, that's from the enemy, and I'm not gonna bite in, oh wow, I'm not gonna bite into it.
Right. Right. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's like, no.
Yep.
And so then we put that thought down, and we say, no,
Yes.
this is the truth, this is what I know God to be, this is what I know God has said.
But the serpent said to the woman, "You shall not surely die."
Yeah.
Now, would she have died if she had touched it?
No.
No. So he was slightly right.
Mhm.
He took a piece of truth
Mhm.
and a boatload of lie. Oh, you won't die. Okay? For God knows in the day you eat it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, knowing the difference between good and evil and blessing and calamity. You see, here's why God's not letting you do it. He's just being punitive. You won't die. Now, she knows she hasn't already died from touching it. So, you know what? This seems kind of plausible. It's like, it's a piece of truth and a boatload of lie. I heard this thing last night that says, this guy could sell reading glasses to a blind man. And Satan often tries to sell reading glasses to a blind man. See, they can be the best looking glasses ever. They can be on sale for 50% off. They can be the color that just goes with your skin so well. They can be perfect for your face shape. But you don't need them if you're blind. That is a piece of truth and a boatload of lie. And when we see, what happens is we buy the piece, we know the piece of truth. Okay? I won't surely die. I haven't died since I've touched it. And then he brings in a boatload of lie. And the reason why it seems plausible is because of that piece of truth. Okay? That's how Satan works.
Wow, that's so good.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that was delightful to look at, and to be desired in order to make one wise, she just went into the want side of things. She took its fruit and ate, and she gave some also to her husband, and he ate.
Ooh. Oh.
So she was deceived.
And she wasn't even hungry.
She wasn't even exactly. She had her knees pulled over. Perfect. That's right. She wasn't even hungry. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But she had, there's three kinds of types of sins. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. She saw it was good to eat. She saw that it was, She saw that it was good to eat. It was good to look at. And she wanted to be like God. She was deceived. Was that?
She was in a dangerous
She was in a
place.
very dangerous place. She was on the cliff.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I want you guys to learn today is to know when you're on the cliff.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay? The biggest thing I want you to learn today is when you're alone. Notice you're alone. It's that sin I haven't told anybody anybody about. It's that place where, you know, I still look good on the outside, so I can just keep this to myself. It's that place of intimacy that I'm not going. Okay? I'm alone. And I'm on the cliff.
Wow.
And it gets very hard sometimes to hear the truth and get rid of the lie.
Oh, that just gave me a revelation. That's why suicide is so crucial. Because they're already at the edge. And all it takes is one word to make it.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
That's very true. Then the eyes of them both were opened. What I want you to notice about this is, oops. So what happened was, when Eve bit, she was thrown into deprivation. And I want you to notice what happens in deprivation. Because it's kind of, this roadmap is kind of like a thermometer. If I take your temperature and it's 104, I can just break the thermometer. But what's going to happen to what's going on inside you? Huh?
Stays the same.
It stays the same. The infection is raging, but I got rid of the problem, didn't I? No. See? And what we want to do is just break the thermometer. When really we have a raging infection inside of us. Okay?
So good.
And so what happens is, in this scenario, it's temperature taking after temperature taking after temperature taking. It's going to tell you, where am I?
Come on.
Where am I going? What's happening to me?
Yeah.
Okay? So I can get back to a place of abundance. There's so many times in my life when I found myself in a horrific situation, and now I'm like backpedaling trying to find God.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go back to, okay, God, you know what? I haven't talked to you like all week, and I need to tell you what's going on. I need to get in your good graces again and get in your favor, because man, I need your help right now. Or I wake up and go, I don't even know where I am. I don't even know what I, you know, I'm so confused. I don't even know what's going on. You know, when I was studying this, I was teaching this in a Bible class. The day Scotty had his horrific accident. We'd gone to dinner and come home and he wasn't there. And I was practicing living in abundance for the first time in my life. And we hear this police car, sirens blaring, screech up to our house. Officer came pounding on our doors and come quick. He's been in a horrible car accident. I'm going to take you to where he is so you can kiss him goodbye. He arrested on the ground. He arrested on the street.
I feel.
And I felt the most horrific, awful, searing pain go straight down through me. My pumpkin, my sweet boy, dying. And so then the cop got the call as we're racing out. No, he's still alive. They're taking him to UCI. So we get in the Jeep. And I remember I put my feet up on the dash. I was wailing. This just wailing cry I never even felt before had. And I am praying and singing Psalm 23. And we spent the next 4 months in the hospital with him. He was horrifically damaged. I mean, I remember when we went into the emergency room and they were getting ready to take him to surgery, and they said, you know, we have bad news, you know. I mean, he's still alive, but his neck was broken at C1, same place as Christopher Reed. His back was broken in 4 places. His leg had been torn off from his knee to his ankle. Only his skin and the 2 bones were left. His face had been torn off from the top of his head down to his chin and from his ear to his eye. And they warned us about what he'd look like when we walked in there. And the nurse, I stood there over him, and the nurse pulled back this place, and his face was gone. It was gone. I remember thinking about last time I kissed that face. Last time I kissed that face. And seeing in my mind's eye, where is his face? Where is it? Where is it? It was like on the street somewhere. It's awful. And yet, I was at peace. I was so at peace. It was awful. And I couldn't pray for him to be healed or whole. What I prayed was God's will. I knew throughout my being that God's will was best. And I was safe in that. And Scotty was safe in that. And Scott was safe in that. And throughout that entire time, I lived in this place of amazing abundance, except for one period of time. And I felt whole. Even though we were going through we went through horrific stuff. Horrific. And except for one time, I felt so at peace. The next morning, he'd gotten out of surgery and he was going to live. And I got really depressed. Sounds weird, huh? What happened was this. Back in April, I still have my Bible in there where I wrote down in April of that year, this happened in June, that I was going to lose him. He was going to die. And the Lord had told me that.
Wow.
And so I was in the will of God believing, that's okay, it's okay. And then he lived. And now I'm confused. The enemy has said, see, you didn't get it right. He didn't die. That wasn't the Lord telling you that. You guys ever had that happen to you?
Yeah.
See, that's not what happened. And it really messed me up. For about 2 hours, I was messed up. I felt like I was outside the will of God. I didn't know, I was confused because I had bought the enemy's lie.
Oh, so good.
And you know what happened is this amazing mentor, friend of ours, and man that has been mentored my husband and I so much, said to me, Carol, you've told me before that you knew that that Abraham reasoned when he was ready to sacrifice Isaac, if God could ask him to lay him down, God could raise him up. And God said that he was going to die. You didn't recognize that God also said he could raise him up.
That's right. That's right.
And somebody speaking that truth to me put me back in a place of abundance.
Well, that's
Wow.
true. Because when you're at the end of yourself,
Yes.
and God